Hello, and thank you for joining the World Alliance for Arts Education to celebrate International Arts Education Week by attending today's webinar. Dance Transforming Education Throughout the Pandemic in Hong Kong will be hosted by Anna C.Y. Chan and Stella Lau. On behalf of the World Alliance for Arts Education, we thank you again for attending this webinar, and we hope to see you online throughout International Arts Education Week. Now, please welcome the speakers and hosts of today's webinar, Anna C.Y. Chan and Stella Lau from the Hong Kong Academy of Performing Arts.
Thank you for waking up early in the morning or staying late to join us in this webinar talk. I would like to first thank you WAAE for the invitation and the efforts to pull this series of webinar for the celebration of the International Arts Education Week, but most importantly, a timely response to the pandemic. Thank you to Jeff's introduction of Stella and myself. I would like to give everyone a bit of the context of our institution to frame today's sharing. Stella and I are from the Hong Kong Academy for Performing Arts, and it's a tertiary institution focusing on the training of professional performing arts practitioners in the areas of dance, music, drama, Cantonese opera, film and television, and theatre technical arts. We also offer arts education program for junior students as well as for the general performing arts lovers in the evenings and weekends. The COVID virus and the social distancing response have led the world to an extraordinary disruptions in shared public life. And of course, global shutdown of an unprecedented numbers of cultural institutions and schools. Perhaps Hong Kong is slightly ahead of many cities and countries, as the impact began in January, and our academy has already started making plans for the pandemic engagement. The sharp decisions to postpone commencing our second semester in early February allowed our faculties to immediately respond to any possible changes, including moving our teaching to online platform, supporting students' transition to remote learning, and responding to meet the needs of students as quickly as possible. As an art institution that focuses on training creators, performers, and innovators, the management and the faculties have to respond to the pandemic with imagination and determination. So what we are implementing now is perhaps our plan E, due to the unpredictable daily development, and I hope our imagination would not run out. So just to show you the picture of our institutions, which is in Hong Kong, and is situated right in the middle of, in the heart of the city, in a location called Wan Chai. Now, for those of you who dance, or who knows how to dance, or who are lovely in dance, you would agree with me that kinesthetic experience and social connections are part of the essential components to dance training. Therefore, the challenges that my dance team faculty particularly faced with this new reality is how do we continue performance-based classes if we can't conduct live teaching and learning in studio? How are our students engaging with and responding to online teaching platform and other digital spaces when most of their learning experience in the past are from face-to-face learning? And how to ensure the continuity of quality learning? Limited space at home is the norm for students at the academy. And the challenge of connecting around 25% of School of Dance overseas students in some remote cities in Southeast Asia and mainland China, where Wi-Fi and internet are unstable and not necessarily reachable. How do we enable students to make meaningful progress towards their educational goals during this time? As a former dancer myself, we are trained to work through all sorts of difficulties, including the ability to withstand venue's adversity, emotional traumas, and express my whole self in dance studio and on stage. You will agree with me, when the dancers get to a places that is not ideal to dance, we will still move on. However, in this period of time, I realized dancers must reframe what it means to be resilient. We can't just take whatever is in front and then move and go for that. Resilience doesn't always mean being tough, nor pushing through something without mindfulness. Resilience, perhaps in this time, is a moment to step back and pause. Getting through the hardship with care and consideration of others. One thing I learned as Dean of the School of Dance is we must keep our humanity in the time of pandemic. We must equip with scientific data and engage in care and knowledge of the self, others, and the societies, and leading all of us to access a more profound sense of community, continuity, and contact. I'm proud of the resilience and humanistic qualities of my dance faculty to respond weekly, or I would rather say daily, change and come up with methods of teaching and offering creative assignments to begin our semester. We discussed among teams to look at how well we can move our dance-based pedagogy online. What kinds of online tools, contents, protocols that offer new approaches to technique, choreography, performance, and collaboration? How do we continue to display students' talents and demonstrate what they have learned via multiple online resources? At the same time, how do we support our students' physical and mental wellness? And how to navigate this challenging time as a team with a priority on health of our students, faculty, and staff. Now I'm going to pass to my colleague Stella. Stella will share examples of our pedagogical approach, perhaps some successful strategies and some not so successful ones that we have learned. Then I will return to talk about post-pandemic plan and potential future impact to dance education. Stella.
Afternoon or evening to everyone out there. Greetings again from the Hong Kong APA, Academy for Performing Arts. In this session, I would like to share with you, as dance educator, our experience under this unusual time of global pandemic. I have been teaching at the Academy for nearly 20 years. My role now is as a lecturer in ballet and also leader of the GYDP part-time youth program, and also responsible for the outreach programs also. So I am learning new things every day, like all of you. With the social distancing, I'm trying to find new ways to connect with family, friends, my students, and also colleagues. Dance education, our roles. In this time of the new challenges, when it comes to teaching, I echo with Anna. The first question is very important question and also a big task for the faculty is how to engage students to continue learning, especially those with students about to graduate this semester. So we have a very important task to accomplish to deal with the situation. So before going to how, we have to decide what to teach, meaning we can't put all the curriculum online straight away, given in a very short time. So I think the first thing we do, sensibly, logically, is to review all the courses in the second semester we are going to offer. And then we have to look at it, what can we possibly offer and have to offer, because our graduates need credit to complete the program. So this is very important, not to disappoint them, not to have interruption. Although there is interruption, there is going on IMG, and also what is safe to offer. because of the nature of the courses is so different. So we have these underlying principles, and then we debate, and then we have round discussions, and then finally we came up something that is really acceptable for the faculty, and the faculty able to offer, and with the best interest to our students. We come up with a course list to offer online. So the areas that it is included are the technique area, choreography, repertory performance, and contextual studies. That is dance science and dance education. And we deliver 4 modes of online learning. So please allow me to share with you here the complication of doing this, a big task for the faculty. So the 4 modes of learning is, the first one is Canvas teaching learning. So meaning students to retrieve material from Canvas, and then teachers and students will engage on online discussion at the class time. So besides, we put on the curriculum, online curriculum on the in the online learning mode, we came up with a different timetable for staff and faculty. And secondly, the Canvas video teaching mode, meaning teachers to upload pre-recorded video to Canvas. So students are required to self-learn. I think the word self-learned, I think is very important. And I'm going to share with you more later in the slide, like what Anna said, what works and it didn't work. I think it's really related of the self-learn, self-discipline. I'm going to share with you more later. The third one, Canvas live teaching. So teachers is required to provide live streaming. So give feedback, students give feedback to teachers via Canvas. And students are required to take class and respond by video during class time. And finally, Zoom live teaching, which is, I understand, is very popular around the higher education institution, and also how the performing arts industry to engage audiences, not only students, the public. So in our Zoom live teaching learning mode, the teachers have to do a video conference with students via Zoom, and students are required to dress appropriate outfit. This is for the safe dance practice purpose, and to take class during class hour. At the end of the day, the performing arts, especially dance practice, it requires a certain level, amount of self-discipline. So you have to be punctual all the time. So this is not exception during this COVID-19. Although the school has offered some courses, for example, like our dance fine courses on a blended learning mode, but for most of the faculty, including myself, it is a new world. We have so much to learn and so much to adapt. The preparation is enormous. We have to write up a lesson plan, teaching contents, which align with our learning outcomes, and also assessment tasks with separate respective courses from week 1 to 6. So our first part of our online teaching, starting from 2nd of March to mid-April, it is before Easter. Through the help of Academy, other units, we work together to do test runs, making sure the faculty had the support to deliver their courses, especially with those Zoom live teaching, to ensure we have stable Wi-Fi, computers, sound system, live music, and also lighting. So it's like a performance. And for the faculty, we seems like going back to where we were performers, the preparation for performance ourselves. All these, we, the faculty, strive to offer a meaningful learning experience to our students. And then, back then, before the March, we're still very hopeful to resume our face-to-face teaching after Easter. So we think there's a foreseeable time we're going to start. But now, of course not. We finished the first part of our teaching, week 1 to 6, before Easter. And then after that, we decided to continue some of the courses, especially the contextual study, to continue, so that in our planning, in our third phase, the second part of the second semester, we can continue all the practice-based course, and also we can focus our performance and production. Our next slide, I'm going to share with you the new pedagogical approach. For us, it's new. So maybe out there, for my colleague out there, it's not new to you, but for most of our faculty, it's new. For the past few months, we have been constantly in a circle or in a cycle of designing, delivering, reflecting, adapting this new approach. It's a cycle. I'm not sure, I can't remember how many cycles we have been gone through for the past few months. So I'm going to go into examples. Technique class is the problem. So what you like at the slide we share with you, can you imagine, can you guess what it is? It is not a dance science course or body conditioning course. It is a ballet technique class. So in a ballet technique class, just like the one we show we refocus, we redesign the material, we modify the content of using, or the focus switching from develop their movement vocabulary into we refocus on the body, the physical principles to develop the inner awareness and coordination of body using some tools. In this particular example, the use of TheraBand, creatively, effectively to deliver this ballet technique course. And the other example I'm going to share with you is the framework, is the model, the conventional model of a technique class, the component. We need to integrate beyond the component of a ballet technique class. So taking some conditioning in the work to do some warm-up. In a normal setting, students will go to school. So they are pretty like wake up, warm, more prepared to go into the studio. But in this kind of live Zoom teaching setting, everybody stay home. And also with the restraint of the space, we have to think of a new way to help them, the body to wake up. So instead of going into a ballet technique or a technique model, we have to incorporate some some warm exercise, a session before going to into the like a online bar with a ballet bar, and to accommodate the needs of the student. And also in between exercises, we have to stop and start because we need to give students time to move the furniture out of the way. Example, we have to use some kicks of ground battement. We have to do like maybe one side to the front, and then we stop. We move going backward or forward or side to side in order to get them to do ground battement to the side or to the back. And also the sound delay. There's something that we cannot cope with especially in the first few weeks, and then we take note of that, and then we acknowledge and work with the other department. So as dance educators, we need to be patient and simplify the movement and less moving around to acknowledge the space restrictions. Another example I want to share with you is my colleagues and how they initiate some creative courses or creative movement in the repertory performance courses. Because students only practice in a certain space, and one of her students, she has no space in their home. So the only place she can practice is in the corridor. So my colleague customized a linear way of delivery for a creative routine for her. And also at the end of the class, we collect students' feedback to make appropriate changes for the next class. So that is why I share with you the cycle the constantly changing cycle in the past few months. In acknowledging the individual expression and creativity in the next slide, besides engaging students' learning, we, besides keeping them the fitness level in the technique courses, we value students' creative voices, and amidst many obstacles, our team of teachers still explore different methods to help students articulate their dance language. The virtual platform becomes a space, a stage for students, a classroom for our students continue their exploration, investigation of movement ideas, and our team utilizing this platform to continue to stimulate, to have conversation, dialogue, and also for the students to show the work in progress. This virtual space draw the team, not only the dance school, and also staff, faculty of the other units to continue to brew new ideas in the creating process. Why emphasize on individual expression? We believe the task of movement materials, using the students' own space, finding possibilities, that we encourage students to think outside the box and also to maximize what you have with the conditions. Creative outlets, we strongly believe, to re-engage students' bodies can maintain students' sensitivity and bring out positive spirit and energy for them to overcome the difficult times of the situation. The next one, I think all of you here, I think we can encounter the same issue, the physical and emotional wellness. The first thing I want to point out is the online fatigue. On the online curriculum is modified. In here, I need to thanks to the time and effort from the entire faculty, regardless what subjects, what courses we're teaching. The different teams, the technique major team, the dance creation team, contextual studies, and dance science team, dance education, we work together in this long and arduous journey with knowing when it will end. Comes online, the fatigue. So this is reminded by our team, our staff, especially from the dance science team, when it comes to a prolonged period of online learning. From my teaching experience during this period of time, our team and students brace this challenge with lots of anxiety. Remember, I just shared with you, with the first part of the first and second semester, we have a prolonged period of 6 weeks. The first week, everyone, we have doubt. We are full of excitement and also anxiety, welcoming the challenge. But between the second and third week, my observation, the faculty observation, the student encountered and reported some situation, sore eyes, headache, sleepless night, insomnia, long hours because of the screen time, worsened posture, sitting from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. in the evening. So in some way, they're emotionally drained. And also, expectedly or unexpectedly, the relationship intensified between students and the family members due to limited space learning at home. And also, it is difficult to come to an agreement with family members who either work from home and also siblings, preparation for their public exams. So I have once, because I have live streaming class also with my technique courses. So I've in not once, many occasions, witnessed their siblings and also parents walk over the legs of our students while in class in the living rooms. or a kitchen, or in a corridor, or in a rooftop area. So much stress that we are encountering. So the students become disinterested. One of my students, she said, I'm fed up. You know, I feel really disinterested after 1 week because she didn't have a computer or some stable Wi-Fi system at home. What can she do learning online for the first week? She relied on working through the mobile phone, her mobile phone. So I can imagine the frustration, escalates frustration week after week. They have enrolled in non-dance courses, and the workload also take a huge toll on them. The assignments, you know, coming up after the one at the first and second weeks, and both not only students, the staff, we all are overwhelmed. I cannot say on behalf of the faculty, but I am not tech savvy, so we have to take workshops on Zoom, Canvas, to educate, to relearn ourselves on top of teaching preparation, of that recycle, of designing, to deliver, to reflect. So a lot of anxiety of dealing with unfamiliar tools and overloading. Through social distancing, our dialogue and face-to-face conversation have been more than meeting in real life, since we have to deal with many challenges together. And the other units of the academy, the Students Affairs Office, also they offer support to our students, maybe in need of some financially, and also our teacher using different social media. For example, besides the Zoom, we use WeChat. In this part of the city, we use a lot of WeChat, WhatsApp, FaceTime, Facebook, Messenger. We use all the social media to reach out to students more than they did before the pandemic. And this is to support the well-being and learning of our students. Next, I would like to summarize for the last few months, what works and what didn't work. Of all the challenges, these are things that cannot be changed, cannot work. For example, something the tangible, the factor, the space, the floor, and also as teachers, we can never interact with students the way we used to be. We cannot be physically in one space. We can see, but not have a sense of being. The students' working environment, the resource, Wi-Fi, no money for, or some major ballet companies around the world, including the Hong Kong Ballet, one of our flagship company in Hong Kong, they can offer Mali to their dancers, you know, to work on, to provide a safe dance, environment, a practice, but we unfortunately cannot fulfill this as of yet. And after collecting feedback from students and the faculty, I noticed our changes, their changes, from being doubtful and skeptical towards this new approach of learning from week one, from frustration, complaining about hurting themselves, doing class, hitting the furniture with all the confined the constraints. But yet, I see these young people and also our faculty have grown over the course of 5 months. They learned how to articulate themselves, their problems, their concerns, and issues in a very respectful way. And I can see this space, this virtual space, has allowed them more time. In Hong Kong, we have some of my 5 million people here in Hong Kong. Is such a very small city, and the pace is very intense, quick, brisk. But this pandemic, at this time, we have to slow down. We don't have any choices. So in fact, a slow down time enable our students to be able to organize, to prioritize. And also some of my students, they share with me, they set a standard themselves of a good quality assignment. They learned how to take care of themselves. They are very tech savvy, unlike me. So constantly before the COVID-19, whenever I met them at the corridor, whenever they have break, and sometimes, even during class times, I can see, they use the technology, the mobile phone all the time. But one student shared with me, she said, from Monday to Friday, because they are already engaged 9 to 9, limitedness screen time. So on the weekend, Saturday and Sunday, she or they are trying to reorganize their schedule. They step away and also rest away from the technology. They have a free technology weekends. And it is important to witnessing them, how they become more resilient and adaptive. Our different teams of faculty, we are our collective effort, not individual. None of this can be made possible without the support of each other, to feedback and constant communication to different units. Example, we have complaints a lot in the week 1, the sound quality in a live Zooming session. So we have to do test runs, retest many times. Whenever we have the time, we look into it, and with the sound people from other units, and also with dance teachers exchanging information of sourcing tools for better learning. And this is one of the tools that I saw that is going to help, with the live Zooming. And we look at things holistically, a bigger picture, a greater picture, how to adjust, how to be more open-minded. Like what Anna said, we constantly revising, our contents materials on a daily basis. We don't just listen, we respond with immediacy. So this is to minimizing risk, concerns, issues, and these lead to the effective learning, over the past few months. And personally, I find it most fulfilling and satisfying to witness students by the end of first part of the learning online, they express that they started to enjoy because they know that the master and they have the autonomy when to learn at their own pace. And through the COVID-19, it seems we as educators equip them with different tools to learn, to present, to create, to reflect, to be inspired, and also become the next emerging artist. So this is the end of my sharing of these sessions. I'm going to hand it over to Anna to continue what we're going to dealing with the second part of our second semester. Thank you, Anna. Thank you, Jeff. Thank you, everyone here.
Thank you, Stella. Oh, what a journey. Thank you, Stella, for sharing with the past few months. And during the period, we felt that it was such a long journey, but then when you sort of talking through, and I just didn't actually realize so much we have done, and we have learned, and we also have achieved. And obviously, Stella has also shared that some very unique features just possibly will happen in Hong Kong or maybe in Asia. And when we all live in a very packed space, high rise, finding students to just be able to stretch their legs or even stretch their arms sometimes is very challenging. And also one very interesting point when I talk to some of the faculty is the students' family are also being disturbed because of all these 3 months of very intense, everyone concealed in a very confined small space. So how do we actually support that? So what Stella has shared I predict for the next year or even two, we will continue to be in this similar situation. The post-pandemic is going to at least take 1 or 2 years. So we need to respond. And so what we have learned from this experience and what we need to change for the next interaction of the cycle. Even though we're busy in dealing with daily challenges, however, if the purpose of education is to prepare students with skills and knowledge for the future, it's vital for any educational institution to reimagine the new world, the future performing arts industry that our students will be entering. Dance education and performing arts related education have to respond even quicker, as we no longer can rely on an old model, old methods, or traditional ways of teaching and learning arts and crafts. So how do we prepare students? Lately, I've been having a lot of discussions with the performing arts industry colleagues, and they all express the urgency to shift their operation mode of the company within the performing arts sector, in which the industry structure will be different, funding will be cut, and it has a big impact onto the economy and also the creative economy. And surely there will be lots of changes. We have also witnessed in the past months, many companies already attempting to adapt by offering new or newly expanded digital service, such as online streaming of the previous recorded work, and some are even preparing fewer number of live performances, but interact perhaps more ways to have the work done by virtual content. I believe in the future, casting and audition will be different. Even with the rehearsal process will be very, very different. Maybe everyone has to start preparing smaller group of rehearsals. So how do we bring smaller group of rehearsal into big ensemble work when physical social distancing is still a must that we need to be aware of? And we also see dance companies even doing Zoom for the dancers to take class and then also broadcast. So all this new shift as an education institution that we are preparing students for the industry, is important that now we start reviewing our curriculum. How do we design our curriculum by integrating more vigorously with the technology? Through the technology, how do we actually train students to require the professional technique, the professionalism, the quality that we used to teach in classroom? And maybe we even need to start training students to rehearse online, to perform online, because it's very different skills when they perform on stage or performing in front of the camera. We will need to equip the students with more flexibility skills, adaptability skills, because the world keep changing. And also they may need to start making a different kind of portfolio, a career, even more than just traditionally get into the companies. When funding are getting cut, they may get less job. So again, this need to look at the content of the curriculum. Now, if social distancing is to be continued, we may need to start offering smaller class size training in the institution if we still want to offer face-to-face training. So we will also need to start rehearsing in a smaller space, or maybe only 4 people in one space. But then how are we going to conduct ensemble work? This will have an impact on the schedules and also timetabling, not to say the resources as well. We will also need to review our assessment, as the given assessment or the assignment to the students currently will have to be different because we're delivering different skills. So how do we assess students of the quality of work if we may not be able to see them regularly or even rarely? Particular dance can't really rely so much on just the virtual world. Now last, traveling will be limited. Invitation of guest teachers, artists, choreographers will have to take on new mode and perhaps adapt change by offering new ways of engaging with these artists. or scholars. Cyber collaboration between institutions, what we're doing now, cyber conference, are maybe the way forward, and to support limitation and economic challenges. I don't have any answer yet, but we are committed to finding ways and learning from each other. Finally, I would like to conclude our sharing of today with an example of a creative collaboration project that the Academy co-presented with a local dance company, City Contemporary Dance Company. We co-present an online version of an excerpt from an original stage work of Rite of Spring by Hong Kong veteran choreographer Helen Lai. 25 students volunteered to participate in this experimental project, which the focus was on rehearsing and performing an ensemble work via digital platform. 3 days of rehearsals were conducted by artists of the company via Zoom platform. Then a pre-recorded video was added, and it was actually premiered on the social media platform last night. So during the crisis, it has never been more crucial for us, for the schools, to preserve the interactive access to the professional world for our students and find ways remotely to share empathy, intimacy, emotion, creativity, and closeness. This project is not only a response to the current crisis, but I believe will also address broader questions concerning access in the cultural sector, shift of practice, and future dance education direction. I will include the link of the making of and the online version to the post-webinar archive. So please take a look and enjoy our students' performance, as well as their delegation, resilience, and creative energy. So to conclude, as of today, the Academy has very firm intention to reopen our campus next Monday on the 1st of June, which adhere to our local government guidelines. But we have to operate differently from the ways we occupied campus before the pandemic. Because of the social distancing requirement, we will adapt the physical space, flexible use of classroom studios and other spaces with various schedules, adjust the resources, develop a vigorous cleaning procedures to reduce risk of further infection. Students will be required to wear masks and we also have already crafted a policy and procedure to support the safety of our community and the safety of dance. Most importantly, I think we must develop a culture of shared responsibility on our campus to support our collective health and safety. Last but not least, humanities help us making meaning and finding understanding on a collective level. Dance make us resilient and give us hope.
Thank you. And that'll bring us to the end of our time together today. There were several other comments offering their thanks, and in particular, the positive outlook and reminder that dance and the arts can bring hope and the resilience within students to move into the future. So I echo the thanks of all of our attendees and offer my thanks to all of the folks who have joined us today, and especially to our speakers, Anna and Stella. Thank you for your wonderful presentation. We wish you all a very happy International Arts Education Week, and we look forward to seeing you online throughout the celebration. Thank you all very much for attending.